the boycott against Target continues, but that is going to obviously impact the black-owned businesses with products in Target. Well, Sisters Media has come up with an idea to help folks navigate that and help those businesses. They've launched Shop Red Bag. Again, Shop Red Bag. It is a one-stop shop for Americans who are boycotting Target and Walmart. Candy Carter, CEO of Sisters, joins us right now. Candy, glad to have you here. So how did you come up with this idea? We know why, but what caused you to say, you know what, we got to do this?
Well, what's interesting is my company, what I do is I do online stores for big media partners. And when I was dealing with a bunch of the brands that we work with, I saw the Black-owned brands struggling. I mean, they were just like, there was outrage online. Everybody saw everything on social media that was happening. And I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to be in these streets protesting, right? Like, that's just not my thing. But I actually have the keys to this kingdom. I know how to set up a store. I've got hundreds of brands that I already work with. And we decided to do that. So we sent out a big alert to all of our brands. We searched for brands who either left Target or were dumped from Target and other places. And literally within a week, 80 brands were like, yes, sign us up. And, we're a small company, right? But it was just like, I was like, we have to do this. Like, I'm just one of those people, I can't sit on the sidelines and just not do something, right? And so that's where shopredbag.com started.
And you said 80 brands aligned, and I take it they are all different types.
Oh, yeah. Well, our goal is we have a lot of Black-owned brands. I think there's 31 pages of Black-owned brands in the store. And so if you go to the store, what's really cool is I said to every brand, this is a movement. It's not a store. It's a movement. And you guys are talking about every headline, something's being erased. Our history is being erased. This person's being let go. All the rollbacks, all the things. But we're not victims, right? So like when you talk about the power of protest, right? And in the first quarter earnings for Target, they're like, look, we got hit hard by protest. It works. But to your point earlier, what happens next? And this is the next. I mean, honestly, to be honest with you, there was a guy on social media. He was literally standing in Target. I wish I could find that video. He was like, what am I supposed to do? Y'all want me to boycott. What am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to buy my deodorant, my this, my that? And that's what really inspired me to do it. And so we have brands that fall under the DEI umbrella, Black-owned brands, women-owned brands, disability, LGBTQ+. And, those brands have come together. We have toilet paper, cleaning supplies, all the things. And every day we're adding more brands. I would say there's probably 30 or 40 brands still in the queue that we're getting into the store. So it's an alternative. Right? We have to change the way we shop if we want our money to matter and if we want to make a difference with our wallet, because we can.
Indeed. Questions from the panel. Rebecca, you first.
Thank you so much for doing this. I have been frustrated by some of the folks who, they do have their multiple lines in Target. And I understand that, especially for those who have licensed their image and likeness with the Target, that this is difficult. But I want to hear more of what is the percentage of folks who currently have lines still active in Target versus your overall, manufacturer creators or small businesses that you feature on your platform?
Yeah, I don't know the exact number we have. So if you go on the platform, you can shop brands that have been impacted by the DEI rollbacks. So if you click on that, you can see all the brands in there that have been impacted by it. You can shop Black-owned brands. You can shop veteran-owned brands. You can shop generally. But what's interesting is every single founder has done a video in the store because this is a movement. So if you go on the store, you can literally click on the videos and listen to the founders talk about their journey, how the DEI rollbacks have impacted them. I think what people don't think about, and this is what a lot of founders told me, it's not just not having shelf space. There's no longer programs to teach people how to get into retail. There were people who had started deals or were promised entry into large retailers and it just ghosted, went away, right? And then there's the folks that were in retail, spending all this money to promote their brands, and they weren't being promoted. That's a whole nother story. So I just think in the next, like in these times, right, we have an opportunity, especially Black folks, with the amount of money that we spend, we can see that boycotting stores is hurting them. So where does all that money go, right? That's what Shop Red Bag is. It's like, make a commitment to make your dollar matter. Your wallet is your weapon. If you're not the person who's going to boycott, if you're not the person marching down the street, this is a way that every single time you spend money, you can uplift the community. We all need to grow. We all need our economy to grow during this time. And we have nothing but opportunity.
Tyler?
Yeah, thank you so much. I like that you said everybody has their role. Always say everybody can't bring the potato salad to the cookout.
That's
You
right.
got to know what your role is. So thank you for highlighting that. My question would be, what advice would you give to young Black creatives building businesses rooted in purpose, but just not for profit? What would your advice be for them?
Well, it's interesting because do it. Just do it. Like, I'm just a doer, right? I have a son with special needs. 6 years ago, I'm like, he has no friends. So I started a foundation, and it's called We've Got Friends. And now we serve hundreds of families throughout New Jersey. I'm just a mom. I'm just a business person. And it's like, if you have an idea, do it. I always tell young people who work for me, like, we're in meetings and I'm like, listen, I don't care who the idea comes from. If it's good, we're doing it. So just do it. I mean, it sounds cliche, but it really isn't. Now, let's just break it down. Do one thing every day. You know, I always say too, let your day job finance your dreams. Don't quit your job, but just do one thing every day towards that thing that you do and see if it works. You know, but I think a lot of people get paralyzed by, you know, the idea of it, the fear of it, and then they just never try it. But you'd be surprised how simple things can be if you take all of that fear away and just go, okay, what's the one thing I can do today?
Robert?
And on that point, one thing Reverend Jackson would always say is that we can't just boycott, we have to boycott also. Meaning that we have to invest in buying things in our own community. And what you're doing is outstanding around that. And this really dovetails into the previous conversation when we were talking about this history of protest and this history of Black activism, because what many people forget is that during the Montgomery bus boycott, people didn't just not ride the bus. They were paying their friends and neighbors and church fans and community people to get them back and forth. When we say we're not going to your lunch counter, we didn't just starve. We were going to Big Mama's lunch counter to put money in her pocket. How can we get the influencer economy to understand that if we are all putting our creative minds together and our creative outlets together, then we can go. If Black folks had gotten behind Roland 7 years ago, when he got started on this, as opposed to diving in now, then this would be rivaling any of the big networks. So what do we have to do to kind of break through that almost post-traumatic slave syndrome where people think, well, it's not given to me by a white hand, then I shouldn't want it?
You know what's so funny? Roland is the best example because I'm like, you own the Black audience in news in America. You own it. To your point earlier, nobody else is doing it. So if millions of people can follow Roland, right, on this network, then millions of people can shop at Shop Red Bag and stay out of. Here's my thing. If you knew somebody didn't like you, right, didn't want you in their circle, no, you wouldn't be jumping out the bed to run over to their house. Think about how hard Americans work for their money, right? We got headaches, we're working weekends, we're so tired, we can't do anything. And you really want to spend that hard-earned dollar with people who don't care about you? It's just mind-boggling, right? And so, you know, we're actually going to New York tomorrow to talk to young people, to really just talk to people about what matters to you, right? And I think now more than ever, I think people are really assessing, like, how important is it for me to spend my dollars with people who actually care about me, who actually believe in what I stand for, right? Because I don't think we can just frivolously throw our money around anymore. I don't think it's fair to us. It's not going to be helpful to us. And the only way, to your point, that we can grow really over the next 4 years is to do it together. And we just have to come together.
Yeah, and coming together also means being consistent. You know, I tell people all the time, you know, on March 4th, when we did the State of Our Union coverage, we had 250,000 people watching us live.
It was amazing.
250,000 watching live. Well, if I look right now, you know, we're sitting there, we've had almost 4,000 tonight, but if we're hitting 200,000 every night, we literally are rivaling all the cable networks. We're rivaling those shows. And what then happens when those folks, and so when they, to your point, learn about Shop Redbag, learn about shopblackstarnetwork.com, learn about these things, now they are buying products at a faster rate. And so what I keep saying is, and you know, in one of our promos, Jeff Carr says, bring your eyeballs home. We have to understand, wherever our Black eyeballs go, our money follows.
That's right. That is absolutely right. And so, you know, for shopredbag.com, we are adding brands every day. We have a section at the bottom. If there's a brand that you love, tell us about it. We'll put them in the store. You know, we're adding in like 30 SKUs of like shoe racks and, you know, things to strain your vegetables, like all the things, right? And so keep checking in. We're doing all kinds of things, but the idea is this is an alternative, right? And everybody, the woman who had the book, it was such a great point. Like, you just go out there and protest, and literally everybody was like, so what are we supposed to do now? Like, what are we supposed to do? You know what I mean? And so for me, I'm like, all right, let me be part of the solution. I'm not going to get on social media and just complain. I'm just going to do something. And so now we have all of these brands and more brands coming in. And they're all, and like I said, if you listen to these guys in the video, they're passionate. You know, they're like, listen, the DEI rollbacks are not going to get us down. It's not going to set us back. They are so positive and so ready to say, let's do it together. So they're inspiring. The brands are so inspiring, and they're all excited to be in this kind of collective, in this movement together, so that we can show that we can actually lift these brands up. We can do it.
All right, tell them again where to go.
shopredbag.com.
All right, then. Candy, we certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
You. All right.
All right, then. So, folks, and don't forget, we also have, you can go to shopredbag.com. You also have Black products that are on shopblackstarnetwork.com. And so you heard Candy just talking about the toilet paper. Well, you see it right here. You see, that's right, a Black-owned toilet paper company, tissue as well. And of course, barbecue sauces, you've got popcorn, you've got a bunch of different products, coffee, you name it, it's on there. So folks, please go to shopblackstarnetwork.com as well.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.